All right, hello, Gaming 2, and welcome to our weekly Final Fantasy VI Worlds Collide Randomizer race. I'm fantastic. Joining me is Mel1 as we bring you this exciting four-way action with four very talented runners from the Worlds Collide community. We have Falcon Hit, Quack McQuack, Maugray, and Gar. Zilford, what are our runners be running this evening?
So today we're looking at the Ultros League flag set. So this is our kind of standard, what we're using for our main tournament right now. Main things you're going to be keeping an eye out for is we're looking for 6 characters, 9 Espers. That gets you into the final Kefka fight. You can skip Kefka Tower if you get either 9 characters or 12 Espers. So depending on how the seed plays out, we might see one or more of our runners looking for that as well.
Yes, indeed. For those of you who may be new to Final Fantasy VI Worlds Collide, this is an open world randomizer. So the entire world, both worlds actually, World of Balance, World of Ruin, will be open to our runners, and the goal, as Zelfer just mentioned, is to find at least 6 characters and 9 Espers, and finally head to Cactus Tower, take on the Mad Clown at the top, and save the world and win the race.
That's right. So we're still getting a little bit of setup here, but we can go over some of the nuts and bolts of this particular flag set. One of the big things to keep in mind is so for starting off, all of our characters are going to be getting 3 Moogle Charms. That's going to stop any random encounters that they don't want to take. They're also going to be starting with 5,000 gold for any initial shopping if they find anything they're looking for in those early shops. They're also going to be looking for basically anything that gets them, any kind of power early on that lets them take some of these early checks. Now, as far as the scaling goes, we're looking at characters and Espers and dragons ×2. So they're all going to be starting off with 3 characters, so that automatically puts everything at level 6. They're going to be starting at level 3, so they're going to be looking to get ahead of that scaling as soon as they can.
Yes, indeed. Being able to manage the difficulty, this level scaling of the enemies throughout a Worlds Collide seed is critical to getting ahead. As you mentioned, the scaling increases every time one of these checks is made. Every time our runners pick up a character or Esper, we'll add, I guess you could say, 2 levels to our enemies. So our runners definitely want to get ahead of the curve, get a little over-leveled early on to be able to take on some early bosses, and kind of get the ball rolling, get their party in gear so they can take on the rest of the seed.
That's right. A couple other things to keep in mind is what is available in this flag set. So one of the big ones right off the bat is Ultima is not. You're not going to find that on any Esper. It's not going to come from a Paladin shield. You're also not going to find any breakable rods in stores. So any of those fire rods, thunder rods, ice rods, you can find them, but you're not going to be able to buy them. That is not true of shields, however. So if you find a thunder shield or a fire shield, you are going to be able to buy those. And if any of those comes up, that could definitely shape how the race plays out.
Love those elemental shields. Something I'm always happy to find early on in a seed. Maybe arguably one of the best things to find early on in a seed are one of the elemental shields. They do so much work for you. They teach you magic, and they also protect you from the element on the shield name. As we get started, we have a 3-party party right at the moment. We have Mog, Sabin, and Terra. We have X-Magic, Slot, and Tools. Interesting. Sad that the X-Magic command is on Sabin, who has notoriously low magic, but you do have a Terra start. Always love to see best girl in the party as we see Falcon Hit immediately heading to the Imperial base, doing Terra's first check, as Gar is heading to the town of Narsh, and we will get this early looting underway.
That's right. It looks like Squack McQuack and Maugray are also going to the Imperial treasure room here, see what we can find. There's one of those elemental shields right off the bat, so...
Yes, indeed. Love to see it. Also a pair of earrings. Nice to find one of those. And an enhancer as well, which boosts the magic power if whoever has that equipped. So decent gear early on.
No, not bad
at
all.
What are our runners looking for early on in a seed, Zelfer? What would you be looking for?
So early on, I'm looking for those really easy fight equalizers. So a Thunder Shield is one of them. Any Elemental Rods. Anything... Super Balls is a personal favorite of mine. Anything that can kind of ignore the scaling and let you get some of those early checks out of the way and really boost your levels early.
Yes, indeed. Our party starts at level 3 with default gear, and basically any other gear would be better. So the first 5 minutes or so of this seed will be pretty treasure heavy as our players are trying to get their party equipped early on. Gar doing a bit of shopping, bit of buying and selling in Narsh, I believe, as the rest of our 3 runners are working through the sealed cave.
And it looks like for Gar, that shopping might have gotten him a little early, another early start on that magic power boost, picking up those Magus hats. Those are, what, 5 points magic power?
5 points of magic power, and curiously, oddly cheap. I don't know when in the vanilla game they show up, but they're like 500 GP, and are worth much more than that in the hands of a skilled player. So love to find those in shops.
Meanwhile, our other runners, Falconhead, Magre, and Squack, are all running through the sealed cave, so this is going to be... It's a pretty treasure-dense area that also ends with a boss-free check. And with... there is free progression on this, so we could find a character in Esper here right out of the gate, and I'll be interested to see what it is.
Yeah, this is one of Terra's checks, and something you always do early on when you have Terra in the party. As we see, the reward on Magre's screen is not a character. It's a little green imp, which means it could be an Esper, or it could be what we call the dead check, which is just a powerful item. It is, in fact, the Magicite Ragnarok, so there is our first of the 9 required Espers.
Right, and it'll be interesting to see what is on that Ragnarok. In the randomizer, not only is the locations and drops of anything, or not the drops, but chests and all that randomized, but the magic and potential bonuses that an Esper can give as well is also randomized. So you could see something on that Ragnarok like Berserk, Mute, or even Tier 3 spells, Fire 3, Ice 3, Bolt 3. So I don't know that he's checked it yet, so we'll have to see what's there.
Hasn't checked yet. Still in the early game, still making their initial rounds. Looks like Magre headed to Albrook. We'll see where Squack heads next. Meanwhile, Gar is in South Figaro, taking a different tack from the rest of our runners. South Figaro, another very popular early stop, also a very treasure-rich area. Doesn't have any checks in it, unless you have Casellas, which our party does not. But is a very common play early on to, again, get geared up, find those critical items that can help take you over the top with those early bosses and get your seed started.
Absolutely. Now, it looks like Falcon Hit went to Albrook. That's another kind of in line, one of the early shopping trips. Depending on what you find early on, you may skip it. And finding a Genji glove there in the weapon shop. So, depending on what else we find, we could see some Genji glove action, double Illumina, double Ragnarok, depending on what comes up. So that could be fun too.
Notice Falcon Hit is in the World of Ruin version of Albrook, which actually offers 1 extra treasure compared to the World of Balance. You see Magre's screen, well, you'll see when he leaves the armor shop, but there is a Magitech trooper in the way of the dock that is not in the way of Falcon Hit's screen. He gets another Kenshi glove, wow.
So looking at Magre's screen, though, I did see that there looked like there was Illuminas in the weapon shop in Balance Albrook, so it'll be interesting to see if anybody else finds that.
That is quite a find, yeah, and I see Squack has one in his inventory already. For those who don't know, Illuminas are by far the most powerful sword in the game. They are arguably too strong. Some flags of Worlds Collide do disable Illuminas, but they are incredibly powerful swords. They're actually incredibly powerful defensive items as well. They give a ton of evasion. So, yeah, huge find. I'm going to slap that on a character and keep that on for the rest of the game.
Absolutely. Now, it looks like we've got Falcon Hit doing the Collapsing House check here. Now, once you start this, if you have Sabin in the party, once you start this, that's it. You are committed to it unless you reset. So, it didn't look like there was a character holding the building up. It looked like an Imperial soldier. So that means it's going to be another item or an Esper. We'll see how that plays out.
Yeah, looks like Falcon Hit, before that, is going to sell off some gear and see what our thief has for sale. It is another match site, is the Phantom Esper. So, 2 quick Espers under Falcon Hit's belt, and we get to get a look at it. So, Doom on Phantom, a few useful spells on Ragnarok, nothing too mind-blowing, but 2 decent early Espers.
Now that said, Phantom also gives an opportunity come the end of the fight. Tier 3 of the final boss has, well, there's 2 enemies where we refer to as Girl, the woman floating in the back, and Sleep, kind of dude just chilling out in front. And as a death counter, he can use 1 or 2 casts of an ability called Calmness. And if you don't mitigate that, it is going to just drop whatever party member it hits. Now, it can be blocked if you're lucky, but a lot of times we look for ways to completely negate that. One of the methods that we use to do that is Phantom. It gives everyone in your party the clear status and allows them to dodge physical hits. The downside being that it means any magical attack is a guaranteed hit. So it's not the best calmness protection, but early on it's a nice find.
That is true. Meanwhile, Falcon running into a bit of trouble, opened a monster in a box and found Gigantos. Gigantos can be a very rewarding battle in terms of XP if you can take him down, but as we see, we're so early on in the seed. I believe this is the first battle Falcon has taken on, and is having a wee bit of trouble. Is going to try to, use the Ragnarok Esper to metamorph his enemy into an item. Aww.
Oh, but the miss.
Too bad.
Now, we see Maugre is in the Returner's hideout. This is another decent early spot for some easy pickups, and it does lead into quite possibly one of the most hated checks of the randomizer, the Let River. Tell us a little bit about that one.
I would be surprised if Maugre is going to head straight to the river, though he is heading in that direction. It's one of the longer checks in the game. It has a ton of fixed encounters and a boss battle at the end, and all that raft riding animation, so it's pretty lengthy. Something our runners usually try to avoid, because this is a race after all, we're trying to go fast. So I don't expect Maugre to take a ride on the white water of the Leaf River just yet. But it could be, one of those off-kilter plays that other runners aren't expecting to do. As we see Falcon Hit running into his second monster in a box. These are the Pugs. Falcon Hit says no thanks, runs away from that.
I don't blame him at all. There's not a whole lot of payoff for Pugs, especially early on. They don't give any experience. They do give magic points and a chance for the one of the best armors in the game, the Minerva. But it's a low drop chance, and with only Terra able to equip it, it might not. Looks like Falcon decided it wasn't worth the time investment.
Yeah, he ran away from that. Would be tempting with Terra in the party. I mean, the Minerva armor is just so good. Are those experience eggs for sale in Zen, in Balanced Zen, which I believe is where Squack is right now?
I didn't see it, but it looks like we might be going for it. We're definitely selling out a lot, so it makes sense. Experience eggs are another one that are very powerful to find, especially early on.
Yeah, that's huge.
Now, there's a couple
Maugre making an interesting play. He's in the World of Ruin Opera House. Looks like he's going to take on a dragon. Very bold. Zelfer, what does a dragon fight mean?
So a dragon fight, on its own, it's a huge experience boost, lots of magic points for any spells you're trying to learn, but it's also going to increase the scaling. So it's a trade-off. Now, with one dragon fight ahead of you, but we've got the Super Bowl, so that's kind of a moot point. It's going to be an easy fight. Dragons can typically be a difficult fight early on, but this early, the experience boost it's going to get you is definitely probably going to outpace the scaling, so Maugre's not going to have to worry about that.
As we see, the dragon is already down. Dragons are not required, but they do offer rewards in terms of experience and an endgame item, in this case a Genji shield. So that's a nice Little boost from Maugre, already up to level 12, as we see Gar is taking on one of Sabin's checks, the Imperial Camp, chasing that dastardly Kefka around the camp. Gonna take a quick detour to probably check out this monster in a box. Oh, no. Oh, he's checking out the other tent. I love that chest. One of many treasure chests I did not know existed until I started watching Worlds Collide.
Same. I'm much the same way. Now, Imperial Camp has the benefit of, again, it's another check, so it could be an item, Esper, or character, and we'll see what that is after this fight, but it also comes with fixed encounters. So it's a good way to get some early levels, depending on what those encounters are, and stay ahead of that ever-growing race to stay ahead of the scaling.
Yes, indeed, as Gar is making good use of the slots command on Terra. Able to get that, the triple diamonds. Slots is a learnable skill, believe it or not. There are ways to manipulate it. I have never been bothered, but our high-level racers, including some of the ones you see on screen, know all the tricks. It does look like Squack is gearing up in the returner side out, suspiciously near the Leet River entrance. This could be one of those shot-in-the-dark kind of plays, thinking he's still level 3. There are those fixed encounters that will reward experience. Certainly none of the other runners are likely to do Leet River, so here he goes.
And this is going to be interesting because, like you said, a lot of the runners aren't going to want to do this one if they can avoid it. So we could get something powerful here, either in the form of a character or an Esper with some interesting skills on it, that a lot of the other runners, just by dint of not wanting to take the time for it, might miss out for a good portion, if not the entirety, of the run.
Very true, as we see Gar continuing to take on the Imperial Camp encounters. Falcon hit in the South Figura basement, doing a little looting. Maugre up in Narsh. Could do Maug and Terra's checks. Each of those characters has a check in Narsh. Nice to bundle those together.
That could also include Kefka in Narsh. Now, that's another one of the longer ones, but just for the walk up. But if you've got Maug and you've got Terra and you're heading up that way anyway, there's no reason why you can't at the very least peek it, see if it's something you want to look into.
Very true. And we will very shortly see what Gar will earn from the Imperial Camp. We know it will not be a character. We saw it was a soldier sprite. Some Imperial soldier on Imperial soldier violence. So this will, again, be a Esper or character. We'll see after, I guess, one more random encounter left. As Squack ran into kind of a dangerous one. Barbies, Samurais, this is not the encounter you want to find when you're level 3.
No, it is not. Now something else here. If you
status effects.
Yeah. Now something else. If you were paying attention on Maugre's screen as he entered the cave, there is an opening in the wall there that can tell you if we find Umaru, the character, his check. You can peek it by seeing if it's going to be a character. You'll see that character kind of poke their head out of that hole as you enter the cave. So we did not see that. So if we find Umaru, at the very least, we know that's going to be either a character or an Esper or an item.
And speaking of Umaru, there is Boss Umaru on Maugre's screen in the Welk Cave check, as we see the Illumina showcasing why it is such a powerful weapon.
And on Gar's screen, it looks like we picked up a Genji helmet, so that's going to be a dead check. Doesn't help with progression. And we'll see where he goes from here.
That's true. To your point, it doesn't help with progression, but it also doesn't hurt progression in the sense that it does not scale enemies.
That's true. Now it looks like he's going straight into another of Sabin's check here, the Barren Falls. Now this one is interesting. It's just, you jump off the cliff, you go straight into a boss fight. So it could be anything. Any of the bosses could be here. So let's see what we end up with.
You also get a free heal for jumping into the waterfall, which is a nice little bonus. As
and
it
it's
is
going
Narapa the Rappa.
Time Waster himself. Now, he is weak to... He can be doomed, he can be instant killed, but he also has Reflect, so you don't want to be casting Doom. Anything, X Zone might work. We might have there's a couple other ways that you can get rid of them. An air anchor will work. Thank you,
Air
Swans.
anchor, the snare attack. There are quite a few, but looks like he just brute forces it. Gets that cleaned up as Mogre has been following the lone wolf up to the top of the Narsh cliffs and finds a ghost. So this will also not be a character.
Now it looked like during the flashing through, Gar also had one of his characters learn Merton. Now, barring Ultima, that is another one of the more powerful spells in the game. It does both fire and wind damage to everything on the screen, both yourself and the enemy party. But if you get elemental shields like Fire or Thunder shields, Minerva, you can negate that, and then it just becomes a massive damage, even another heal. But it does look like this was a dead check. He got the Dragoon, was it the Dragon Horn or Dragoon Boots?
Dragon Horn, yeah.
Alright, so that means...
sorry, continue.
Oh, I was going to say that just means that we do have the ability to jump with one character, but without the... Or we don't have the jump with a character, but if we do, that could be a powerful pair. What were you going into?
I was going to mention, looks like Mogre is taking on the Kefka and Narsh check. A very fun section of the vanilla game, in my opinion. We'll see if he can weave his way through the Imperial troops and take on whoever the boss is at the Kefka spot. Meanwhile, Quack McQuack's still on the Leap River. Again, when we mentioned this was a long check, we were not joking. Though I believe he is finally maybe an encounter or two away from the boss. And in fact, this is the boss here. Of course, our friendly Ultros in the vanilla game, and instead it is, oh my goddess, the goddess.
This is not one you want to see early.
No way.
This is with Love Token, she can essentially shut down the physical attacks of of your characters, and with those Illuminas, that could be a very scary prospect. And there goes the charm, so it looks like it's going to be on Mog, but it missed, so lucky find there. So we'll see how it plays out. Meanwhile,
she absorbs Bolt, and she absorbs Pearl, so that is two big elements on Squack's team that he can't really use. He would have much rather preferred finding a boss like, say, Tunnel Armor on Mogre's screen, who is already dead. But this is going to be a tough fight for Squack, and especially with the time investment of taking the whole Leap River trip, this is not a fight he wants to lose. So this is going to be a real nail-biter on Squack's screen.
Meanwhile, you've got Gar. He also found the pugs in the collapsing house. He also chose to nope out of that one. And Falcon Hit is in the Imperial camp, so he's going to see the Genji. What was that? A Genji shield?
Indeed. As Mogre found the Crusader Esper from the Kefka and Narsh fight, Squack is in trouble. It looks like Mog has that Thunder Shield, so will absorb all of Goddess's lightning attacks. Can't say the same for Sabin and Terra.
So this is, so coming into this, we're about 20 minutes in now, and we see Mogre with 4 Espers, and Falcon Hit with 3, Squack with 2, so while it does look like Mogre has a solid lead here, being the randomizer, anything could happen here. We still haven't found any characters, and that's really what we're looking for to open up some of these checks.
That's a good point. Keep in mind, I think 2 of our runners have bought the Esper from the Zen Thief, and 2 have not. So that is sort of a free Esper in their back pocket, as we see Gar picking that up now, picking up the Phantom Magicite.
Alright, and now Squack McQuack's fight with Goddess is now officially on the clock. We have condemned on both of our remaining party members, and Sabin is down, so he's definitely in for a hard fight here. Meanwhile, it looks like Falcon Hit is going into Narsh. Maybe we'll see those same checks here for Kefka, the Welk fight, and the Lone Wolf. Now, did we see what the Lone Wolf had?
The Lone Wolf was a dead check.
It was, okay.
Oh man, now Mog is zombified. Oh, now he's back. As Falcon Hit going to peek this monster in the box in the tutorial house. It is, Vanilla Lobo.
Oh no!
That will be a very quick fight. Oh no, Lobo.
So, okay, yeah, so it was a Minerva from, or a Force Shield from the Lone Wolf check. Thank you, Schwantz.
And Goddess is down. Squack
Goddess
gets
is
it
down.
done.
Now, we're going to see if it was...
Very impressive.
Now we get to see if the effort was worth it. That was a long time investment followed by a hard-fought boss, so let's see what we get out of it.
Well, we haven't seen a character yet. They must be out there somewhere.
And it's a Minerva.
So a tough dead check. I mean, a great...
It's a great item.
Item rewards, exactly. It's a heck of a reward, but not the edge that Squack was probably looking for when he made the Lead River play. But still, props to him for taking down a very, always dangerous Goddess.
So, chat, you've seen where we're at so far. You've seen the... where checks are you going to next? You kind of... You know Lead River, and you know Welkin and everything, where we're at so far. Where are you going? Lead River should never be dead. Well, that's... I mean, it can be worth it if it pays off, but at the same time, it can really be... It could just be a big waste of time. Now, it looks like Gar is going to Mount Colts. This is another one
like
that's...
running into Ultros 4.
Yep. Now, this is one... It tends to be not so much avoided the same way Lead River is, but it is a long walk. And it is Ultros 4, so that means there's not going to really get anything out of the fight itself, because at the end of it, good Sir Chupon there is going to sneeze everyone away.
Yeah, Chupon's got a little hay fever, gets a little sneezy. This is, I believe, the only boss fight in Final Fantasy VI Worlds Collide that does not reward experience, but of course will reward a check, and is a fairly easy fight to work through, as Falcon Hit is doing their Narsh checks, heading up, chasing Lone Wolf. We'll see which item they pick. They will probably pick the Ghost, because they don't know that it's a dead check.
Green Monkey is asking what flags these are. This is Ultros League. Fairly standard flag set here. Most of the community is familiar with these. They're the two big ones that we see on top of the Moogle's First Tournament that we've got coming up as well. And it looks like Falcon Hit is taking that Ghost.
Gar finding the Zone Seek Esper at the top of Mount Colt. So another Esper, but we're still almost 24 minutes in and have not seen a character. Where are our characters hiding?
Well, at this point, it's pretty much a coin flip. We've got Zozo, we've got Phantom Train, which I don't think anyone has peeked into, or Mobla's Ruin, which is also peekable. So those are ones that you can kind of poke your head in, see if it's worth doing the whole check for. In the meantime, it looks like Magre has found a leader in the skies.
Wow. Yeah, just randomly runs into the Doomgaze encounter, and will be very happy to find Leader. Leader, one of those rare things in RPGs. Everyone's familiar with battles where you're expected to lose. Leader's one of those fights where you're expected to win. So he's, not to put it lightly, kind of a chump. As we see, he goes down very easily. Magre will be very happy finding this random check in our Worlds Collide randomizer, and it is indeed a piece of magicite.
It is Kieran. Now, I'm looking at the counts here. We still haven't found any characters, but Magre is up to 6 Espers. This could very well be one of those one of those seeds where you get the Kefka Tower skip before you get Final Kefka unlocked.
That would be wild to see. But yeah, as you mentioned, as we see, Ice 3 and Meteor on Kieran, so that's a pretty nice one. Also had Cure 3 on Fenrir.
Yep.
So some pretty strong spells. Also, we have access to Doom. So definitely checking the boxes of spells you would like to have. Add a Mute, a Berserk, maybe a Fire 3. You're good to go. Of course, also we do have Merton as an option.
Yep. And then seeing that,
find enough fire protection.
Yep. And then seeing that Fenrir there as well. That's another. I was talking about the calmness protections earlier. Fenrir is probably one of the best ones you're gonna find. It gives the entire party the image status and allows you to dodge calmness. Calmness being an instant death, but it is not magical in nature, so items like Safety Bit, Momentum Ring, those will not protect you.
Very true. Fenrir comes in very handy in the final battle. Though, to be fair, we are still a ways away from that. Still looking for a fresh character. We've been finding plenty of Magicite and certainly finding plenty of dead checks. But where are our characters hiding? We know they're not in the Imperial camp where Maugre is. We know they're not in Narsh where Falconhit is and where Gar is. And where Squack is.
In chat, we've got Three Babies question, what is the end game? Finding World of Ruin, Kefka, and killing him? So the goal is we need to find 6 characters and 9 Espers, as well as, and then get through Kefka's Tower and beat him. Now, where those characters are, we have no idea, but we've so far seen a lot of places where they are not. And so right now, it's going to be whoever finds that first character is going to open this up.
Yeah, and there really aren't very many checks left. I think it's, Zozo, Mobliz, and Phantom Train.
Maugre getting through his Imperial camp, going to find that Genji shield here. Squack is leaving, so Squack, McQuack, Falconhit, and Gar all leaving Narsh now. So they've already done their Imperial camp, so they're kind of looking at the same list we are. Now, Falconhit and Gar have not done Leet River yet, so whether or not they decide to see if that's worth it as opposed to going to Zozo, Moblez, or Phantom Train, we'll have to see.
I would be surprised, but, we saw Squack already did it. An important thing to keep in mind when you're racing is you're not just racing the seed, you're racing the other runner as well. So I think that's why you see sometimes some unorthodox strategies like Squack taking on Leet River at level 3, hoping to find that edge that maybe other runners may have missed. Of course, we know it didn't totally work out in Squack's case, as he pulls off a very nice soldier skip, by the way.
Always nice to see it clean.
Oh yeah.
It looks like Gar is going to be the first to check Phantom Train. Saving outside here. Now this is, like I was saying earlier, this is one you can peek your head into, see if you want it. If not, you can go ahead and reset out. So, Fantastodon, if you find an Esper here, what are you doing? Are you going to go through it, or are you just going to reset out and check one somewhere else?
I think I still take it. I definitely take it if it's Gao, our 4th character, who has vanilla rage and lore and natural magic. That's kind of a spicy Gao.
That is a very spicy Gao. Now, the way rage works in the randomizer, obviously, going into the Velt and making Gao leap is very slow. So we decide not to do that. Instead, anytime you face any enemy, when that fight ends, you get that rage. So some rages to look out for are my personal favorite, Stray Cat, especially with Illumina's in play. What other rages are you looking at?
Stray Cats, your Retainers, your Woolies, your Behemoths. There are maybe 10 or 15 really strong rages. I only remember like 6 of them. Rage is one of those commands that really rewards knowledge. And also, of course, rewards just finding the right enemies, as you mentioned. Obviously, you would love to run into a Stray Cat or something of that ilk, but still, I think can be a very fun command, and can often be a very powerful command, as can Lore. So 2 very hit-or-miss commands on Gao. We'll have to see what exactly he's bringing to the party, what rages and lores he may already know, as well as what natural magic he will learn randomly over the course of the seed. So a pretty RNG Gao as it goes, but I think one that could potentially be a very powerful party member.
So finding Gao in the Phantom Train, we've got Squack McQuack is heading up Zozo Tower, doing the conga line.
I know, there's one annoying room in what is otherwise, I think, a pretty fun check. I think Zozo's pretty cool. I like the rain-slicked urban jungle gym vibe, bouncing from tower to tower.
I'm gonna be honest, I just love the music here.
Oh yeah, of course. Well, I mean, Final Fantasy VI music is goated. Everybody knows that.
Absolutely.
So many great tracks.
So I am actually being corrected by the chat that when raging, the Illumina does not get its auto crit function. So maybe Stray Cat's not the play for it.
I mean, Illumina is so strong just in its own right. There's no reason not to just swing normally. But the Stray Cat can really go off with like a sniper. I think a Tempest can work. You usually don't see that, as Squack finds Flame Eater at the top of Zozo. We'll see if Squack has learned Ice 3 from that Kieran Esper. Also, whether Squack has Kieran, which I actually don't think he does.
I don't think that he does. No, Kieran was from the Doomgaze encounter, so...
That's a good point. So, yeah, it's possible that Mogray will be the only one to find that. I mean, that was a real shot in the dark. As, Squack pulling out the knowledge, he's confusing the bombs so that they explode each other. Love to see that.
Now you've got me learning new things. I did not know they could be noise blasted.
I will be honest, I learn something new every time I watch Worlds Collide. This is such a deep game and such a, all these coding quirks and unusual monster weaknesses and vulnerabilities. I think you always learn something new when you watch.
And Gar is facing off against Atma in the Phantom Train spot.
Boy, as Squack finds his fourth character, it is Umaro the Yeti. Always fun to see Umaro. Could mean we're heading back to Ruined Narsh. Do a few more checks as, Gar's taking on Toilet Atma, a very scary Kefka Tower boss.
Never get tired of hearing that name. And it looks like Mogray is here now doing his Mount Colts check. Falcon Hit is on his way to Phantom Train, so he's going to see Gao and probably run that here. Couple different options now. So we still have Moblez as an option. We also now have Umaru's check, which we do know isn't a character.
That's true. And for Gar and soon-to-be Falcon Hit, Gao has 2 checks of his own that I'm sure we will get to before too long.
Gao's 2 checks being the Serpent's Trench and finding Gao on the Veldt. Now that requires dropping your character or your party down to 3 members or less, and having dried meat. Now I don't know that I've seen anyone pick any up, so until we find that dried meat, we might not see that check.
That's true. I did not catch if anyone found dried meat. I do note Falcon Hit slapping that sniper on Gao. Again, sniper, one of those weapons that works very well with rage. And I don't know if people noticed, on Gar's screen, Gao was doing serious work to T Atma during that boss fight. And looks like Gar is here in the Veldt. May just be going up straight to the Serpent Trench. So another section of fixed encounters.
Now, I'm surprised no one's taken the time to, at the very least, peek Mobley's. Usually that's one, if you see Terra, it's an easy one to just poke your head in and see if it's something worth taking. Do see Squack McQuack here taking the Narsh Dragon. So he is going to go ahead and head up to the Tritalk and Umaru check, it looks like.
Yep, Tritalk is an open check. You don't actually need a character to unlock it, but you do need Umaro to be able to go into the Umaro's cave right behind it. As Gar runs into a pretty spooky encounter, veterans are enemies you never want to run into. As Squack runs into everyone's favorite 1950s American swing band, Haydn and the Haydnites.
Indeed. Now he does have that air anchor, so it looks like he's going to use that to kind of clean some of them up. Yeah, and guards. We might see someone drop here just to this roulette.
Hate that move. Such a stressful move. Watching the arrow go around and around, and as you see, hits 2 characters.
Yep. Mogray is now joining the Congo line, so he's going to get his Amaru.
We'll be happy to find that. As Falcon Hit checks out another monster in a box, it is merely a specter. As we see, Squack took out Haydn and the Haydnites, finds the Tarato Esper for his reward, and will dive into the Umaro Cave to see what's next.
Tarato only having Fire 2 on it, so not a whole lot to it, but it is a piece of progression. Looks like right now we're kind of... Mogray is in the lead as far as Espers go with 7, but still hasn't found his fourth character, which he's on his way to now. Falcon Hit and Squack having fourth characters of different flavors. So this would be interesting to see, kind of, as these runners kind of diverge their paths here, see where they end up.
Absolutely. I think the opportunity for divergence is one of my favorite things about Final Fantasy VI Worlds Collide. There are just so many paths you can take, so many strats you can work through to progress through a seed. It's fun to see how runners tackle every seed in their own unique way, as we're seeing now with these uses of divergence, as Falcon Hit taking on Toilet Atma, and Gar running into, geez, another ugly fight. These are not fun battles, though obviously Cat Scratch doing serious work, as we saw there.
Oh, absolutely. And this is another one of those ones with the limited amount of checks available, especially with us knowing that Umaru's check is going to be either an Esper or a item. There's more than likely a good chance that there's going to be another character here at the end of this. So with Gar being the first one through it, we might see this seed open up even more.
Very true, as Squack runs into Guardian, another Kefka Tower boss. A very beefy boss, has a ton of hit points, but as a machine, it is weak to lightning. So that Bolt 2 magic will come in handy.
Falcon Hit wrapping up his fight with Toilet Atma, and Magre looking like he's getting to the top of the Zozo Tower here, so he's going to find his Umaru.
And I suspect Mogre will be right behind Squack in working through ruined Narsh and Umaru's cave. Gar is definitely reaping the rewards and experience, taking on these tricky encounters in the Serpent Trench. As we see, did learn Cure 3 there as well, so hopefully for Gar, these, and Brontors too, another endgame battle, jeez.
Now it does look like Falcon Hit did drop his party down to 3 here, so outside the Serpent Trench cave, he's going to see if he can find that character check here, or the find Gao check. Now he did get the pincer attack there. Now Gao can only appear in certain formations of enemies, and it looks like Falcon Hit was able to identify that wasn't one of them.
Yes, indeed, as Squack is now checking out Mobliz. Another Terra check. One who gets peeked by going down here in the basement, asking the little girl, who is here? Who can we take away? You're not going to take Alexander away, are you?
Well, looking at Squack's count, we might take Alexander away here.
Meanwhile, Mogre doing a little unorthodox play of their own, heading through the caves of Narsh. This is not an area everyone checks, but he is going for that, I believe, that Minerva that the Lone Wolf has.
Gar getting to the end of that Serpent Trench and finding Strago. Now, Strago comes with 3 checks of his own, and they are almost all universally the least favorite of our community. And it looks like Falcon Hit's finding Setzer there, but so that's going to open up 2 more checks of his own.
By the way, Mogre finding a snow muffler along with that Minerva, so with Umaru, he now has 2 snow mufflers, a Minerva, some elemental shields. That is a very strong defense going forward.
Absolutely. Now it looks like we've got 2 characters now from Gauss check, Setzer and Strago. Setzer opens up a free check in Colligan as well as Daryl's Tomb. And Strago opening up Burning House, which is how well can you dodge fireballs? Fanatic's Tower, how good is your magic? And Ebbett's Rock, RNG the cave.
Ooh, I hate Everett's Rock. I do not like that check.
Now, Schwann's bringing up
it's not the longest check, it's not the hardest check. It's just the most RNG check.
Yep. Now, Schwann's bringing up a good point here. With Setzer in place, Search the Skies is now an option in the World of Ruin airship, which means we could be finding that Kirin up there now.
That is a very good point. Meanwhile, Mogre taking on another dragon, the Red Dragon. As we see those double Illuminas on the Genji Glove Terra have been doing work all seed, will continue to do so. Much more so than poor little Sabin casting Ice 1.
Absolutely.
So he's doing his best.
So Falcon Hit is also taking the Serpent's Trench. He's finding his veterans there, while Gar, it looks like, is on his way up to join the Congo and find Amaro at the top.
Yes, indeed. And so, just a few minutes ago, we were wondering where the characters are, and now two of our runners, Falcon Hit and Gar, are just a little bit away from having their 6th character, unlocking all of the requirements for characters to get into Kefka's Tower. As Squack continues working his way through the Phantom Train, hopping from car to car, as Falcon Hit runs into these ugly fights, but does have Merton online. Oh my goodness, look at this.
Now Merton's a strong one to get up and running. He does. In fact, it looks like he's got healing from Mog.
So powerful, Zelfer?
So Merton is such a powerful one because it first of all, it's a high damage ability on its own. It's doing both fire and wind damage. But it also damages the entire screen, both the enemy party and your own. That can be mitigated, however, if you have elemental resistant shields, Minerva, if we ever found it, Paladin shield, or if we ever got the Curse shield undone. And where not only can it do a lot of damage to the enemy while ignoring your own, you can even use it, depending on your setup, as a free heal that also does damage.
Very true. Can be an extremely powerful spell if you have the right items, which Falcon Hit certainly does. You could expect to see quite a few Merton casts in his future. As we have dueling boss battles on the bottom of our screen, Mogray taking on Haydn and the Haydnites, Gar taking on Flame Eater.
So you've got so outside of your sensor checks, you've got your Strago checks. You've got to pick one. Where are you going?
For Strago, unfortunately, it pains me to admit it, I think the right answer is Ebbets Rock. I think, on average, that is the fastest of Strago's checks.
True. Now, there's a valid point that you can at the very least peek your head into Fanatic's Tower, see if it's worth the effort. You'll see right there in the line at the bottom of the tower if it's going to be a character or not. And considering that's the big look that we're on our way for now. Gar just picking up his Mara there at the top of top of Zozo Tower.
Yeah, meanwhile, Mogray is about to hop into Umaro's cave and is at 8 of 9 required Espers and will get his 9th in this cave. So Mogray is going to be on a character hunt after this. So, of course, there is the option of the Kefka Tower skip. If you find 9 characters or 12 Espers and have Kefka's Tower unlocked, you can skip straight to the statue fights at the end of the tower and skip quite a bit of the very lengthy final dungeon.
Saves the walk, but sometimes he might be up for the cardio. It just depends on how it plays out. Mogray getting that Esper right here. So, meanwhile, looks like Falcon Hit has made it out of the Serpent's Trench. Doing a little bit of shopping here before he heads on his way. And Squack looks like he's just now getting to his Imperial camp check, so unfortunately going to be disappointed when he sees it's not progression. At this point, a dead check is not what you want to see this late in the seed.
Very true. We are 45 minutes in, and as we can see on the tracker, the numbers reflect that we are approaching the late game. Maybe this is sort of the beginning of the late game, if you will. Certainly not the end game, but this is at the point where, you know, your knuckles get a little whiter, the checks get a little more impactful. You really want to just check off these final few boxes on your list before heading into Kefka's Tower.
Right, now it looks like Gar here is also taking the dragon up in Narsh. His levels are I don't know if it's because he's not quite as comfortable with his levels, or is he's just trying to get some spells learned here.
That's a good point. Something often underappreciated in dragon fights is that they reward 50 magic points, which is enough to learn a whole lot of spells.
Falcon finding an offering for sale. Offering's an interesting relic. It allows you to take one weapon and attack with it 4 times, but reduces the damage that that weapon does. There are some weapons that ignore it, however. Offering plus Sniper and Stray Cat, for instance, would be an extremely powerful combo.
Love that combo. One of my favorites.
So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Gar getting his Pride Talk fight right now. So he's got Hidden Knights.
Yes, indeed. As Falcon is working through Kolingen, one of Setzer's checks picked up a piece of magicite there. And is doing a bit of shopping.
Which means we are more than likely going to have to start peeking into those famous Strago checks.
Yeah, I don't think there's any way to avoid it.
We'll see if he goes into Daryl's tomb from here.
I personally would tackle Daryl's tomb before any of the Strago checks. You also have to search the skies battle, which we know to be LOL leader, and will reward the Kieran Esper.
Now, Magre is actually looking at everything. He is definitely looking to be the closest to getting his go mode. He's going to get his 5th character here.
Yep.
And that'll just leave him...
Yeti. As Falcon makes short work of leader, we'll find that Kieran Esper. We'll be very happy to see that.
And Falcon Hit is in fact on his way to Daryl's tomb.
Question in chat, what is Gar fighting? Gar is fighting Haydn and the Haydenites, usually found in Ebbets Rock in the vanilla game. Here it is the...
I don't know if we... He's talking, but
Falcon
I can't
is
hear.
forgetting to put on his Moogle Charm and runs into an Intangier. Yikes.
Oh no.
Luckily you can run away from that.
Yeah, definitely one you want to run away from. Squack McQuack is hitting his...
so easy to make. Sorry, what are you saying?
Oh, Squack McQuack is hitting his Serpent's Trench, so he's going to get Strago at the end of this.
Yes, indeed. Daryl's tomb is a check I've come to appreciate. I think it feels slower than it is because of all the room transitions, but it goes fairly fast and does have treasure chests that are literally in your way.
Yeah,
So,
there's... don't have to go
easy
exploring to find anything. I mean, don't get me wrong, there are checks I'd rather take ahead of it, but between this and Strago, it's going to be Daryl's tomb every time.
Well, yeah, of course. I mean, not every check can be, Barren Falls. As Gar takes on a monster in a box, it is Telstar, so have not found the elusive Katana Soul yet, with its oh-so-powerful offering relic as a reward. And just as I say that, Falcon Hit runs into Katana Soul.
And we're gonna get the easy kill here with the Noise Blaster. Gonna flip him around and let Katana Soul do the work for us.
I love this strat. This is so cool. Do it, Slayer Edge.
And now that's it.
Yep. Offering.
I remember in
the easy
Vanilla,
way.
I remember in Vanilla, first time through as a kid, Katana Soul terrified me.
Oh, brutal. But, yeah, Falcon Hit cleans that up very quickly. Gets the always coveted offering relic. Gets a ton of money as well. though I'm not sure that matters too much this late game, and finds
Palador
Palador
looked like.
Esper sleeping in Daryl's tomb. And finds good old Daddy Llama.
Daddy himself.
Dataluma, one of my favorite bosses, actually has arguably the most complicated boss script in the game. He has a ton of different phases, he has a ton of different attacks, he will throw stuff at you, he will use potions on himself. It's actually a very intricate boss fight. Unfortunately, poor Daddy Llama is made of tissue paper, so he always goes down. You never really get to appreciate the nuances of his boss script. But, yeah.
If you see any of the other... if you see any of the other seed or the flag sets that have some of the more interesting scaling options, you'll see them later on. Daddy Llama has abilities like Goner. So yeah, you let him get high enough, he can definitely be a terrifying fight. But in the 27s, where it's based on character and Esper progression, not a big threat.
That is true. So now, it looks like Falconhit and Mogray are effectively tied. Falconhit needs one more Esper, Mogray needs one more character. Boo asking what was in Daryl's tomb, it was the Palador Esper.
That one being another... if you had to put... Calmness Protection on a tier list. Outside of Life 3, Palador is an option.
Palador is definitely the, we have Calmness Protection at home of Calmness Protections.
Yes.
But it can work.
It can work. Palador works by making your entire party jump, taking them off the battlefield, and then coming down one at a time, and if one of those characters gets a kill, that's... any characters that are still in the air are out of the way of calmness.
That is very true. One of the things I love about the jump command, you can't be hit if you're not on screen.
Absolutely. Looks like Gar here is going to be taking the dragon here at the Opera House.
Yeah, as Falconhit takes on a dragon of his own, the red dragon, here in the Ice Dragon location.
Looks like Mogray is looking for Setzer out there on the veldt.
Yes, indeed. We'll be very happy in what he finds.
And Squack McQuack is on his way to the Obelisk check. He's going to peek in, see if Alexander is what he wants. Doesn't even look like he's going to go peek.
I believe he already did, didn't he?
That's right. He did come here earlier.
He peeked and left. I mean, Mobiliz is a check that I often leave late, not because of its time cost, but because Funbaba will blow away 2 of your party members. You're basically fighting at half strength, so it behooves you to have 2 powerful party members, or at least a party strong enough that any combination of 2 can usually take on a boss.
Right, and it does give you that opportunity to be able to choose which characters he blows away, as he will always prioritize dead characters first. So if you've got 2 characters that you know are going to be dead weight in a boss fight, you know who you can just drop them and let Funbaba get them out of the way. And it is Rexol that he's going to be fighting here.
Oof. This is one of those bosses that is generally considered more annoying than difficult. It's unlikely that Squawk is going to die to Rexol. It is more likely that this is just going to take a while, because Rexol is kind of a jerk like that.
And it can also take, our biggest reason being is if you kill the spirits that are on either side of Rexol, then they die, and then they come back, and then the other one will probably die, and then come back, and it just takes forever.
They do have an obnoxiously slow respawn animation, don't they?
And it looks like Whack is actually struggling to get some damage in. He's tried Murton, and he's got the Illuminas, which is unfortunately healing Rexol.
Yeah, Rexol absorbs Pearl and just in general has extremely high magic defense. So you really want to hit him with physical attacks if you can. Not sure Squack really has that at his disposal at the moment. It's going to have to, I guess, just chip away with these Bolt 2s, doing about 500 a pop. This is not going to be a quick fight for Squack. We'll see how Gar does, also taking on Rexol.
Yep. Now Magre is in World of Ruin Zen and finding Valiant Knives in the weapon shop there. But it looked like only Umaru can equip it. But he is on his way to Kefka's Tower, so Magre is the first one in the tower at 5650.
A fantastic time. Really well done thus far by Mogre. Anytime you're into Kefka's Tower under the 1 hour mark, you're feeling good. As we see, Magre doing an interesting strategy. Zelfer, do we know what Magre's doing here?
It looked like he waited his whole party one way, so it's possible what we're looking at doing here is double dipping the Kefka's Tower. And what that means is, since we don't know what that first boss at the Inferno spot is going to be, but you can walk straight up to it, you can throw all your weight behind it, or all your throw weight behind it, and just walk straight through it, finish that fight, and then potentially warp stone out and come back out or come back in with more balanced parties for the other bosses.
I think that is exactly what he is doing, and is a strategy you don't always see, but it can be quite effective. Chat mentioning perhaps feels like his levels are a bit too low, may even take on the dragon, the optional dragon, on the way.
Coming into Kefka's Tower as early as you are, or as he is, it's definitely not a bad plan. Especially if he knows, the struggle to find characters and checks that other people may not want to take. He might believe he's got that pace advantage, that it's worth it to come in twice.
Yeah, it looks like his levels are in a pretty decent spot, mid-30s, except for Terra, who I think has been wearing the experience egg and is up to 42. And obviously, more levels are never a bad thing.
Gar is in RNG the Cave.
Oh god.
So Ebbets Rock requires you to have 22 pieces of coral and deliver them to the chest at the end. Now, once you get past that first instance of seeing the chest that you have to feed them to, every box can have a random amount of coral, and any of the switches can send you to literally anywhere. It's entirely possible to find your 22 pieces of coral very quickly and then never see the end of it.
It is pretty much pure RNG, and it is a suffocating dark cave, and you're just bouncing around from teleporter to teleporter. It's a tough one. It's not as long a slog as it often feels. Meanwhile, as Chat predicted, Magre is in fact taking on a dragon. It is the Storm Durgan, who is weak to Bolt, so that's good news for his Bolt 2 casters. Meanwhile, Squawk is making the auction house play, hoping to throw money at the problem and shop his way to 9 Espers.
Well, he didn't find it for the first stop. Gar finding Ghost Train at the end of Ebbets Rock. No Blitz users, unfortunately, so we will not see the suplex.
Too bad, but we get to see Stray Cat Gao doing huge numbers. I don't know if people have been paying attention to Quad 9s.
Yep.
If people have been paying attention to Rage Gao, but he has been doing work all seed, as we just saw with that cat scratch attack.
It looks like Falcon Hit is now also in the tower doing... I didn't see the party comp here. I only see 2 fighting Ultros here at the Inferno spot, so it looks like Falcon Hit might be making an actual run.
Yeah, looks like it. Does have Gao decked out with that offering. Does have Sabin with X Magic, able to cast these hugely powerful Merton attacks. Ultros is already gone. And, I mean, at this point, it could be said that Falcon Hit is a bit ahead. Because as we know, Magre will have to exit the tower and go back in.
And of course, so as tight as this is, anything can happen both during the climb bosses that you find, as well as the final Kefka fight itself. I've seen some runs come in 2 minutes behind and get that final Krakow a minute after or a minute before the leader coming in. So anything can happen here.
That is very true. Cactus Tower is a beast of a dungeon, and a lot can go wrong. And the final battle itself is a 4-tier mega battle, if you will, that is almost a game into itself. Sometimes it feels like, the entire seed was just a prequel to the final battle. So as you mentioned, anything can happen. Nothing is guaranteed, but looks like Mogre is readjusting his party. He's going to head back into the tower, having cleared out that third path. And Squawk does find an Esper for sale in the auction house. Will happily bid on that item.
And Falcon hit here, getting lined up on the switches here, Squawk's just looking for one more Esper, it looks like. Same with Gar. So, all told, we're actually fairly close coming in here.
Yeah, absolutely. This has been a very well-run race by all 4 of our runners, and should be a pretty exciting finish. Green Monkey in chat calling out the fair and balanced XP egg. It is not a meme when people say that eggs win races. Finding
absolutely.
Early experience eggs was a huge boon.
Looks like Gar here is going into the South Figaro basement and finding Locke. Now, where did he find Celes?
That is a great question. I have no idea. That must have been from Ebbets Rock.
Oh, that's right. So Locke, having another very quick check here. Looks like we were more than likely hoping for an Esper there.
In that one. Yeah,
yep.
But now we see Gar is at 8 characters. A 9th character would unlock the KT skip.
That's right.
So something to think about.
Now, so it looks like he's going to go and poke his head in, or not. Not going for that weapon shop just yet.
Doing some off-road shopping.
But we've got the weapon shop could be either 2 items or an item in an Esper. The other option being the tunnel armor check, relatively quick and could give another character. So I've got to ask, you're at 9 and you're at 8 and 8. You get your other Esper. Do you go check that tunnel armor spot to see if you get another character for the skip?
That is a tough question. I personally probably would, just because I think the KT skip is so fun, and I usually play without it. But these are all very experienced runners, very used to the Ultras League flag set, so they probably have a much better strategy than I do. But let's see what Gar finds down here. It is indeed a piece of magicite.
So now we're going to see if Gar is going to go for that South Figaro cave check, or if he's going to go straight to Kefka's Tower. He is in go mode, but he could go for skip as well, so we'll see what he decides. In the meantime,
go mode.
Yep.
In the meantime, Falcon hit checking out the meme chest. Love to see that. Taking on Statue Boss. It is Kefka. Hey, showing up early. Hello.
Hey, it's Kefka Light. Just a quick sample of what you have to look forward to.
Exactly. Diet Kefka. All the Kefka, none of the calories.
There you go. Looks like Gar is going straight for the Kefka's Tower. He is not going to check tunnel armor.
I think that is a totally fair play. I think if you're confident in your party, I mean, he has this monster of a Gao.
Yep.
He's been doing a whole lot of work.
And Squawk is also in go mode now here as well.
Yeah, so things as they often have a way to do in the end of a Worlds Collide seed are tightening up as we get into Kefka's Tower. As we see Mogre taking on Tritok, which could be a tricky battle for him. Trying to manipulate the slots.
As we all know, the randomized slot machines in Final Fantasy VI are very famously not random, and can very easily be manipulated if you know what you're doing. I do not know what I'm doing, so I will usually just mash the A button and pray.
That's basically my strategy, but Mogre, much too talented for that, as we see, is manipulating these slots. Getting a Lagomorph that time, but did get an H-Bomb for about 7,000 damage the last time. Luckily, that is a defense ignoring attack. Tritok has extremely high defense, is all but immune to everything except fire, and of course, attacks that ignore defense. Meanwhile, Falcon Hit is on a different tack. We'll see which statue this is, as Falcon Hit has, I believe, taken the lead. And
Looks
finds
like
another light boss, Magimaster Light, number 24.
Yep. But Mom, I want Magimaster. We have it at home.
So I have a headcanon that number 24 and Magimaster are the same thing. And that 24 survived the end of the world and turned into the Magimaster. Otherwise, why do they have the same sprite?
Could be. Set himself up at the top of the Fanatics Towers, like, alright, I'm the boss now. I could see it.
Yeah. You know, the world ends, decide to become a god. Get some fanatics to worship you, and you're feeling good. I have no evidence for this theory, but I like it.
I can see the thought process, though. I mean, obviously he's looking up and say, hey, it worked for Kefka, why not?
Exactly. Anyway, number 24 is down. Without too much trouble for Falcon Hit, as, oh my goodness, I don't know if you're seeing what Terra's doing on Mogre's screen, but the double Illumina Genji Glove Experience A combo
Love to see
has
it.
paid out hugely. Yeah, doing
Love to see
9k a swing.
So it looks like Falcon Hit is going to be coming up on his last statue soon. We'll get to see what that is.
And this is going to be a very tight finish. This is exciting to see.
Oh, absolutely. Alright, and what does the goddess have for us?
Well, we know it won't be Goddess herself. Could be another statue. Is, in fact, the Welk boss. Womp womp.
Hey, you know what? Props to Welk. First boss of the vanilla game, making it all the way to the end. I'm proud of you.
That's true. Look how far you've come, Welk. Now die to murder.
But that was overall, outside of Tritok, yeah, a fairly easy Kefka's Tower.
Yeah, Kefka going easy on our runners. I mean, no statue bosses, no Magimaster, no Doomgaze, nothing too scary. So yeah, it should be just a sprint to the finish now.
And of course, we have to wait for Welk to poke his head out.
Well, yes. This might end up being the longest boss fight. Oh no, Mogre's Gao is muddled.
Oh no. That could do very bad things very quickly.
Yeah, and unfortunately, Gao knowing all the
Oh
powerful
no.
magic attacks to cast on himself.
And Welk going down. So it looks like Falcon Hit is going to be our first to reach Final Kefka.
Yeah, Falcon pulling ahead of Mogre. Mogre's unorthodox strategy of going all the way down path 3 first, exiting and coming back, certainly paid dividends in terms of experience for the party, but may have set him back just a little bit in terms of Falcon's more straightforward play. And as we see the beams come down at 1:10:22,
and it looked like Mogre had
a restart.
So it looked like Mogre had Snow Muffler on that Gao, so wasn't any physical hits, were just doing 0 damage. He was in a permanent lock. He couldn't get unconfused.
Wow. I've never seen that before. That's wild.
Only a Worlds Collide.
Exactly. I mean, that's what I love about this rando. For anyone out there in chat who has not tried this out, Worlds Collide is just a ton of fun. It is also extremely modular, so you can make every run, as easy, as hard, as random, or as vanilla as you want it to be. You can really do a ton with it. You can, not to mention even, changing the sprites, changing the palettes.
Even the background music.
Exactly. It is an incredibly deep randomizer, but also one that you can make of it whatever you want it to be. So for anyone who hasn't, definitely check it out. And of course, definitely check out our Discord if you're more interested.
Oh, of course. Falcon Hit coming into starting the final Kefka climb at 1 hour 11 minutes. So starting this off, we've got Tier 1 has 3 parts. You've got long arm, short arm, and the head. Now this is mostly a physical defense check. Fantastic. Why don't you tell us a little bit about it?
There's a lot going on in this final battle. As I mentioned, it is 4 tiers. That is merely the first tier. It is comprised of 3 enemies. Head, long arm, and short arm. The head is the head, the long arm is the arm we see more of, the short arm is the shorter arm. And everyone has its own little quirks to it. So the head is weak to fire, the long arm is weak to instant death attacks, and the short arm is the one you want to kill last, because it is the only one that does not have an very dangerous on-death counterattack. As Falcon hits, offering Rage Gao, just doing huge numbers with that quad cat scratch. Love to see that. Love to see when, the Rage command really comes together like it did in this race. It just pops off. And this is going to be a pretty quick Tier 1 for Falcon.
Pirsky in chat bringing up the new player tournament we've got coming up, the Moogle's First tournament. We have the 4 new players. We have the new Moogle's First seed. It's a guided walkthrough of a randomized seed to kind of get your toes wet and kind of feeling out the randomizer. Well, the tournament is going to be using a flag set similar to that, while also being guided by a mentor to kind of ease you into both tournament play in general and the randomizer as a whole. So if you're interested, definitely check out the Moogle's First tournament.
Absolutely. There's never been a better time to get into Final Fantasy VI Worlds Collide. We are really ramping things up over here as Falcon Hit takes on Tier 2, which comprises 4 enemies, one of which is vulnerable to Doom, as we saw him casting Doom on that lady in red, who is now down, just has 3 other enemies to take care of. That would be Magic, Tiger, and Hit. Magic is the fellow in the back who's going to cast a bunch of magic. Tiger is the bestial head down there, and Hit is that blue fella showing off his guns.
Now, Magic himself being hilariously vulnerable to mute, so if you have it, it's easy to shut him down for the majority of the fight. And Tools, that's the one in red, like you said, being vulnerable to instant death is one you want to take care of fairly quickly, because if you do not, then she'll start reviving the other parts. The Tiger Head having some very gnarly status effects that you want to watch out for, so barring magic, or barring the ability to mute magic, you want to take care of him first, otherwise you want to drop magic first. And then this is just, but otherwise this can be a very, if you're not ready for it, or some of those status effects, this can be a very scary combination. The finisher, of course, being 10 hits, and then, which could be preceded by...
Oh my god, Gao, show mercy!
Gao just putting in work.
No kidding. Meanwhile, as Falcon is here in Tier 2, our other 3 runners are very close. In fact, almost had a triple number 24 sync on screen. Meanwhile, Falcon Hit is through with Tier 2 and is on to Tier 3, and this is where that Fenrir we mentioned earlier comes in handy. Tier 3 consists of 2 enemies, Lady and Sleep. And when Sleep dies, he will pull out the Calmness attack, which is a physical attack that just kills you instantly. So what do you do with that? You use something like the Fenrir Esper, which casts the image status, which makes physical attacks always miss. So Calmness will not hit your party, and you can ascend to Tier 4 with your full party.
Scratch just putting in work.
Love to see it. Love to see it. As Maugre is indeed the second one into the final battles. We see the beams come down about 6 minutes or so after Falcon hit.
Both Squack and Gar wrapping up their number 24 fights here.
We see Falcon has that Fenrir Esper queued up. Does have Mog on the ground. Probably want to get him back up, but instead casts the Fenrir Esper, which will cast Moon Song. Again, giving the entire party the image status, which will auto-evade physical hits. Still needs to get sleep down, though. This Meteor attack can be very dangerous.
Here comes the train. Now this one can be scary for an unprepared party. Cast both blind and silence on the entire party, and if you have a magic-based party or a physically-based party, this can really slow it down. But it looked like he's got... Yeah, Gao doesn't care about blindness.
Gao cares not. There's the Colonist attack, there's the Whiff, thanks to Fenrir, and that means Falcon Hit is ascending up to Tier 4, up to the final battle, taking on the Mad Clown, the Dark Angel, the man who destroyed the world, Kefka himself. And, what do you think, Zelfer? Kefka versus Gao, who do you got?
Oh, I'm going to give this one to Gao, as long as Gao doesn't go too fast. Kefka, after he gets below a certain HP threshold, he'll start countering everything with Ultimate. So if you don't get your kills in that point, you could be in for a pretty rough time. So we'll see what happens here. It looks like we got everyone through. Gao is straight into Stray Cat again.
Absolutely. Gao doing his work. Just want to point out, if Falcon Hit pulls this off, this will be a blazing fast time. This will be a great time for a
absolutely.
Speed. Very impressive.
Especially under the Ultras League flag set. This is definitely a league-worthy run.
Absolutely. I mean, if I'm any of these runners, I'm feeling pretty good about where I am right now. But, yeah, Falcon Hit is just... Or maybe it's just Gao is just smoking this endgame.
Now, I do want to check in. Okay. Checking in here on the, we do have so while we do have these 4 runners here, we actually have closer to, about 10 runners racing this overall, maybe a little more. So
boom, that's it. GG to Falcon Hit. Way to go.
All right. Well, we've got Falcon Hit in at... see here, looks like 1:19:02 on our end, or on the Discord side. On his side, it looks like it's going to be a 1:18:59. So we'll try and get him in here for an interview.
Yeah, just a fantastic time. Really, a great showcase of skill. And a showcase of how awesome Rage can be. But yeah, Kefka crumbles into dust under 1 hour, 20 minutes. You don't see that very often. So yeah, GG's to Falcon Hit. Really impressive.
All right, and we do have Falcon Hit here coming in at under 120. How you feeling, man?
It was a bit of a slow start, but I'm glad that I did early Kefka at Narsh, which is always like very exciting because you could like just die. It could be like Match Master, and then you're just like, oh shucks.
That's true. Well, you were able to pull it out. Do you feel like Kefka at Narsh was your sort of unlocked the seed for you?
It was a place to get levels. Like, I did Imperial Camp, which had like not very good fights, so I was still hurting for levels. I was like level 8 while I was on scaling 14, I think. So I was like, I can either do Elite, or I could like chance a boss, or I could do Kefka at Narsh. And I had Mog, right? So it was I was like, I had Mug and Terra, so it was just like a good like tempo play, right? Because the checks are in the area, and then I can get levels. I had the experience egg, so if I got through Kefka and Darsh, I was gonna be like good on levels for the rest of the game. So yeah, I feel like Kefka and Darsh was a pretty good play. Did anybody go lead?
One did actually. Squack
Quack the Quack went lead, and it
He
was
went
unfortunately
early.
dead check.
Oh, you hit the double whammy. You hate to say it.
Dead check and a goddess battle. So
Goddess? Oh
Yep.
my goodness. That's you have the Thunder Shield, right? Did he have a Thunder Shield?
yeah,
Not yet.
He pulled
Oh
it
yeah,
off.
no, he did. He did, but yeah, he went early, so it was a long river and a slow goddess fight at the end for. I mean, it did end up being a Minerva, so it wasn't a total waste, but not what you want to see early on.
Yeah.
Were you considering Leet at all? The Leet play?
I kind of consider Leet not a real check, so I pushed it out of my mind, and I was like, well, I only have however many checks minus Leet.
Well, how are you feeling when you found that stray cat Gao?
Oh, that
That
Stray
really
Cat Gal
unlocks
was
everything.
it was so nice. I had Merton, right? And like I found the ice shields in World of Ruin Elbrook. So I had like Merton traps going. But you're really looking for that non-elemental damage for girl. So when I saw that I was just like, and that Gal could equip the sniper, I was like, this seed is just over. Also, did you see how hard I was panicking? Because that Stray Cat Rage had no brakes.
No, it did not. That was actually something we were talking about in the commentary, was the possibly pushing Kefka too fast and getting into those ultimate counters.
Yeah, I was like, oh no, if I proc like twice, I'm like super lucky that I didn't proc twice on the second turn. Otherwise, that would have put him into counter range, and I would have been like, oh. But on tier 3, that was the most like my heart was racing because I put him into Meteor phase, and I was like, because he countered with Meteor, and then Mog went down. And I was like, do I just cast Fenrir and then just like go?
Well,
And then I was like, yes, I do this, because I thought he had not died, but the timing was like really weird. Oh my goodness! But I'm lucky. I had the time to get for Terrace because Mog was taking like 2 turns for every one character. Or not Mog, Gao. It was actually incredible how fast he was.
Gotta love it.
You finished with a fantastic time. I'm curious, were there any moments where you felt particularly ahead or perhaps particularly behind?
I fell behind after Kefka and Narsh because it's a very long check. I don't know where other people got their levels, but like if they like found an easy boss, I think Leader existed somewhere.
Yep, Leader was there in the Doomgaze spot.
Oh right, then maybe not Leader. But yeah, if somebody went to like a quicker check and then did a boss that was super easy, then I would have been like in a situation where I might have to like go faster. But then when I did my checks, the bosses were like medium difficulty. So I was just like, oh, maybe I'm like at a slight advantage because I did Kefka and Narsh and got all my like easy levels. So I like the general way I think about whether I'm ahead or behind is based on my characters and Espers multiplied by the time. And after Kefka and Narsh, I was about 4 times characters Espers. And that's usually about the time where I'm like, I better have very good offense. Otherwise, I'm going to be... this is going to be like a 130 foul or 140. And yeah. I felt behind in that moment, but then afterwards I felt better because the bosses weren't like super easy.
So coming in at 118.59, this being the Ultros Late flag set, how would you feel about about this time in this seed set coming into the actual league? Like, is this a time you're happy with?
I'm in Mega Elixir, so I would be very worried because it's very tight in Mega Elixir. There are a lot of very talented runners. they all go so fast that you can't really feel comfortable with even like one of your best times. Like I got a 114 and I was like, oh no, Julith is gonna get like a 112 for sure. But this time this is a pretty good time. I would be worried that somebody I would be worried that somebody like got Merton's Wrath online, took off the Moogle Charm and did a random encounter with the Forbidden Technique. And got like, I don't know, a very easy encounter, like they found Gigantus. Ah, that Gigantus was such a regret. Cause
it looked like it was hurting you there for a minute.
Yeah, I fought the Gigantos and I was like, I had to make a decision whether to run or, because I didn't have smoke bombs or warp zones. Also, where were the sleeping bags that seed? I found 0 sleeping bags. I had to buy like 9 tents. It was.
We saw a few runners using tents. I didn't remember seeing any sleeping bags. Actually,
I don't think I saw any sleeping bags either. It looks like it was all tents.
Oh, this is like my nightmare seed. It's up there with the no warp zone, but luckily I found some at Narsh.
All right. Well, you got anything else you want to say before we let you go?
Thank you, commentators. Thank you, fellow runners. Thank you for putting this on, and I'm glad that I could put a show on for everybody watching.
Absolutely.
Right.
Well, thank you so much. It was a pleasure to watch, and looked like it was a fun seed. So GG's on the win, and good luck in the rest of the Ultros League.
Thank you.
All right, and we've got Mogray coming in at a 125.41. Let's see what the Discord says. It's going to be 125.53. So it looked like Mogray. Now, you looked like you were going into that final Kefka fight with... well, first of all, congratulations. Coming in at for second place there. How you feeling so far?
I guess we'll never know.
Guess we'll never know. I did see it looks like he was going for the lore Grand Train strats there in Kefka, so let's see if we can get him back up here.
Hope so. Meanwhile, Gar is taking on their final Kefka battle as Terra, Strago, Mog, Lock. So
looks
not
like
the 18 you would want. Is
no,
chucking out a scoop ball.
No, it looked like Gao Ada Calmness coming out of tier 3, so kind of had to play it on the fly.
Yeah, again, that's what can happen in the final battle, as we see Havoc Wing dropping Terra in one hit.
Oh no!
This is going to be a much more difficult final battle for Gar than it was for Falcon or Mogray.
Speaking of, we've got Mogray here now. How are you feeling about that race?
Hey guys, I feel pretty good. That's a really good time for me. I don't know if that's a PB, but it's pretty close.
Well, that gets you second in the restream. It looked like third overall.
Yeah, Jex put up a great time too.
So where were you? If you had to say at any point you were struggling during that, where would it be?
Well, when I met Magimaster in the tower, or at least that's what it appeared to be, right? Number 24 was pretty brutal tonight. I thought I had everything just all bottled up. Just had to close out a couple fights. I thought Gao would be okay with Grand Train having that non-elemental damage. Unfortunately, my statue fights were probably the slowest part. You know, Terra had to rely on Slot to get past Tritalk. Thankfully, she had that. Otherwise, I'd have had to reset out. We had that unfortunate overflow wipe to number 24. That was probably the biggest struggle points.
Confusion.
Oh yeah, and then just finding enough money for all the good stuff in the seed. I found Illuminas for sale that only Terra could use, but I didn't know that at the start. Valiant Knives for sale that nobody but Umaro could use, but I was gathering money for future characters, hopefully. I found an offering for sale, but nothing ever to use it with. So I was trying to, collect all that dead check loot as much as possible to bankroll my future offense.
Oh, when you saw Strago at the end of Serpent's Trench, what were you thinking?
I was just really happy. Wait, oh no, I didn't go to the Serpent Trench.
That's right, you were the one who didn't.
Yeah. Oh, everybody else did.
Everybody else hit Serpent Trench.
Okay. Yeah, I had 5 characters, and I knew that I was really likely to get a quick one from the Velt check. So as soon as I saw Setzer, I just went right for go mode. I thought about doing some of his quick checks, like the free one or something like that, but I don't know. If it was an Esper, it would have just wasted time. Strago probably would have been welcome though, given how hard it was to find characters in this seed. I don't know if anybody did Elite River or Mobley's. I wasn't feeling confident enough in my team to do Mobley's. Like, if Terra got blown away, they could have easily, like, really struggled. So I didn't want to do that. But I probably should have peeked it.
So Mobley's did end up being an Esper. It was Alexander, I think. And then it was Swack. It was the only one who did Lee.
You know what? As soon as I saw the Terra start, I know that's his favorite strategy, and I knew he would be there. And the further I got into the seed, I was just like cursing in my head because I was like, oh no, Squack is doing Elite River, and if there's a character there and I have to last check it, I'm toast.
Well, you didn't miss much other than a goddess fight for Minerva.
Oh, that's brutal. Oh, wow.
Fantastic on you have it.
Very strong run on your part. We noticed you did the strat of running your full party down path 3 of KT and then, warping out and going in again. Is that something you do often?
I won't say it's something I do often, but I was thinking about it earlier today, and recently it seems like if you're gonna take the Opera House Dragon, or a late dragon right before KT, you might as well go into KT and just knock out a boss with your full team. You're going to get that Inferno Spot boss done a heck of a lot faster with all 4 characters, and then they all get the XP and magic points there. And then you get the dragon done. It doesn't take that much longer than running for, like, say, the Ice Dragon at the Tritox spot, if that's where you're going. So it just kind of makes sense to me. I was on the fence about whether or not I needed one, but I made a split decision because basically I had Terra, who was an absolute stud. Like, she could do no wrong. She almost did quad 9 damage on that final Kefka Narsh fight at the final statue spot for her, times 2. So she was pumping up the damage, but everybody else was kind of lacking. They had magic damage as their primary source, but it was really weak. It was only like 2 to 4k on a tier 3 spell, which is not what you want. So I just thought, let's get some more levels and really just try to pump up Terra and maybe pad the other guys a little bit if possible.
Sounds good. Got anything for the streamers or for chat before we let you go here?
Yeah, just thanks to the team for putting this together. This is my first time being featured, so I appreciate it. I've been in your shoes, so I know it's a hard job. So thanks to our entire staff, the restreamer, the commentary, the tracker, and thanks to chat for watching and enjoying this awesome game.
Thank you. Thanks for putting on a good show.
All right, thanks, guys. Bye.
Thank you. As we see Gar and Squack finishing mere seconds apart, both taking down Kefka at 133 and change. So we've got Squack here with us right now. GG. S. McHugh, how do you feel?
I don't know where I am. I don't know where I was going. I just kind of walked through. Goddess and Elite River, really stoked that was my start.
You're the only one to brave the river this seed. Though everyone else has been asking about it. So, how are you feeling about that, man?
So my Terra start is basically the same. I go to Terra's loot room, I do her free check, I kind of loot a couple of towns on my way up the map, and then I just stop at Elite River and do Elite River. That's just how I always do it. Sometimes it pays off, sometimes it does not. At this time it didn't, although I must say I'm impressed I even survived that encounter.
It was a real nail biter. It was very impressive.
not just the goddess fight at the end, but the whole river was just looked like rough encounters all the way down.
No, actually, it wasn't that bad. The only thing that was rough was the Barb E and the Samurai encounters. The first one I just couldn't really do because I couldn't really get a footing because they sneezed away Terra. But as soon as Terra got a bit of experience under her belt, Illuminas just did too much damage, so I can just one-shot basically everything. But being able to purchase 2 Illuminas and have a Genji glove off the top, though, I was like, oh, cool, I'm there. I'll just start hitting things with 2 Illuminas at the same time.
There you go,
But,
and then
I'm last. So
just by the skin of your teeth though there, and then you got Gar coming in just ahead of you. Gar, how are you feeling about this one? Maybe. We'll come back to you.
he's just too gobsmacked that he beat me.
There you go.
No, that was it was a very interesting seed. I hit a couple of dead checks and then I just didn't really know what else to do. I was kind of looking for a character, but I knew I kind of needed Espers. I don't know. The character there wasn't a lot of checks. From what I can see on my map, my checklist, sorry, that really made sense for me to do. So I was kind of bouncing all over the place.
This one
The
turned
characters
into
were hard to come by.
yeah. This one kind of
Sorry,
turned
what was
into a straight line between or behind Gao at Phantom Train.
Yeah, that was it was very interesting, but I mean, I'm glad that I still did about my average, about 1 hour and 30 minutes. So I'll take that as a win, considering it gave me a rough start, and I just kind of squeaked in at the end there.
Well, yeah, considering you did have to deal with that pretty hellish Leet River, that is a very strong time.
Yeah, man, goddess to start. Oh man, you hate to see it.
So
If
true.
I want to answer questions, it helps to unmute myself.
Generally,
there
yeah.
you go.
Oh, hey, Gar.
Yeah. How's it going?
Not bad. How were you feeling about that run overall?
Until the very, very end, I felt fantastic about it. The Gal train had no brakes, and then at the end, it drove right off a cliff.
You hate to
Yeah,
see
yeah,
it,
that was
but
a tough tier 3.
Yeah, excuse me. That was just a little unfortunate. I was hoping to get the Fenrir off before he did that. I did not realize how much damage I was doing, but yeah, that's just the way it is sometimes. I was fortunate that I had some shields to crack, and I had some nice healing magic to get through Final Kefka.
Always fun having a stray cat rage user. How stoked were you when you found that on Gao?
Anytime I see Stray Cat, and I saw the offering in the North shop earlier, I was like, "Yep, this is the way I'm going," and nothing is going to stop me from doing this.
Perfect.
love to
Well,
see
it worked out, yeah, beautifully for you and for pretty much all of our runners too. I think Gao was really the star of the show in this seed.
Oh, 100%.
It was
So-
it was actually Terra for me, but I'll be the outlier.
I mean, Terra, you got the Terra love, you got the Leet River check. I mean, Squack's just got to be different.
I'm built different. I'm a duck. I hang out in the river.
I thought about doing Leet River at the start too, but I don't know why I didn't.
Don't go. Just don't do it.
Squack ended up running into a goddess at the end for Minerva.
And I had 2 Illuminas.
Oh,
and
jeez.
if I proc Illumina, she just heals off my pearl.
Yep.
Like,
Where'd
what
you
do I
find the
do?
Illuminas? I missed those.
I stopped at the after I did Terra's check. I stopped off at the World of Balance, Albrook, and to Ruin the Weapon Shop.
Gotcha.
So I just sold everything and bought 2 because I had a Genji glove. So Terra just was wielding 2 Illuminas, and then I found an experience. Oh no, I found an experience egg in the Sen World of Balance relic shop, and I bought that. But I hear there was a free experience egg somewhere, so I missed out on that. I like a sucker, I purchased mine for full price.
Nah, don't feel bad. I did the same thing.
But yeah, so I had Terra. Terra was schmoving though. As soon as she was at Elite River, she was just laying into everybody with 2 attacks of Illumina. But then I just kind of got lost in these weird checks, and I don't even know how to explain how I even got 6 and 9 and going into Kefka's Tower. I just kind of went.
Well, Gar, you finished up with 8 characters. Was there any temptation to go for the KT skip and look for a 9th?
I thought about it, but I had no idea where I could find a 9th character. I could have checked, what was it? The tunnel armor spot, the South Figaro Cave. But if that wasn't a character, then I feel like I would have lost a fair bit of time. Made up somewhat by the fact that I would have gotten some levels, maybe, but yeah, nah, as soon as I got that 9th Esper, I was like, nah, let's just go ahead and jump into the tower.
Fair enough.
I like,
Well, it
I
was
like how
pretty-
you got 8 characters, and I'm sitting here with 6 and 9, just getting in as soon as I possibly can, and you still beat me by a few seconds. Man, was I slow this run! Holy.
Move close. You getting through the goddess on the Elite River that early. It's
That must
not
have took
easy.
me 10 minutes, dude. That fight must have took me a solid 10 minutes because I had to revivify both my guys.
Oh,
it was a real
jeez.
slog.
It was so stupid.
very tense
dude.
to watch.
Well,
Oh,
I can't
man.
wait to see the VOD of this or the
Yeah,
vid maybe if it
I'm
goes up
glad
on
you
YouTube.
guys were at least entertained. But for now, I will take my leave. Gar, GG's, dude. Got some quick times. That was a really fun race.
Yeah, absolutely. GG's to you as well.
Thank you, sir.
And GG's to all our runners. That was an amazing show they put on for us today.
Absolutely, yeah, real pleasure to watch. Real showcase.
Move close. You
The
getting
world's
through
collide
the
skill.
goddess
Extremely close.
on the Elite River that early. It's not easy.
It's true.
All right. Well, this has been a pleasure to
It
put
was a
on.
real slog. It was very tense to watch.
Getting some.
Well, I can't wait to
there
see the VOD of this or the vid maybe if it goes up on YouTube.
I think we're getting some double chat there.
Funky feedback.
Yeah. But overall, no, this was a very fun run. Thank you again to all our runners, both here restreamed and in the Discord. Fantastodon, thank you for joining me and commentating on this race. And of course, we couldn't have done this without the Schwans with our doing the restreams and helping Goku Black with the tracking. So thank you everyone for helping out with this.
And thank you, SpeedGaming, too, and thank you those in chat for watching. It was a fun one. I certainly had fun. Had fun hanging with you, Zelfer, and hope to have a lot more Worlds Collide goodness in the future.
Absolutely. Don't forget to check out the Discord if we've got the link there in the chat for it, as well as all of our runners. Make sure to give them a follow. This has been, like I said, an absolute pleasure to commentate and run. So